Ever felt that frustration? You have a student's IEP, it looks perfect on paper, but in the classroom, nothing changes. The goals are there, the services are listed, but the student is still struggling and you're left wondering what you're missing. It's a common feeling, and I want to tell you, it's usually not your fault. Most IEPs don't fail because teachers don't care. They fail because they were never designed to work in a real, busy classroom. They're written for legal compliance, not for practical instruction. On paper, it's a masterpiece of educational jargon. In practice, it's just another document in a folder. Teachers skim it, try their best, and then, out of necessity, go back to teaching the way they always have. Not because they don't want to support the student, but because the IEP doesn't actually tell them how. It's like being handed a map with no roads. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We'll break down the 8 biggest reasons why IEPs fail in the classroom, and more importantly, give you concrete, actionable ways to fix them. We're going to transform those documents from paperwork into powerful instructional tools. The very first and biggest reason IEPs fail is this: they are written for compliance, not for instruction. The primary goal of the person writing it is often just to make sure every box is checked and every legal requirement is met. The document satisfies the law, but it doesn't actually change a single thing about a teacher's behavior. The goals might sound impressive, but they don't describe what a teacher should do differently during a lesson. The specially designed instruction, or SDI, is often just copied and pasted from a generic list. The accommodations are the usual suspects: extra time, small group, preferential seating. The fix for this is surprisingly simple, but it requires asking one very uncomfortable question during the IEP meeting: what will the teacher do differently tomorrow because this is written here? If the answer is vague, or worse, if the answer is nothing, then that part of the IEP is not functional. It's just words on a page. Every single line in an IEP should translate into a tangible action in the classroom. If it doesn't, it needs to be rewritten until it does. The second reason IEPs fall flat is that general education teachers, the people on the front lines, weren't truly part of the design process. Sure, they might have been in the meeting, maybe for a few minutes between classes, but the plan wasn't written in their language. It's filled with terms like scaffolded instruction, multisensory approach, or strategic support. What does a teacher managing 25 other kids actually do with that information in the middle of a chaotic lesson? If an IEP is so complex that a teacher has to pull it out and reread it just to remember what to do, it won't get used. It's just not practical. The fix is to start writing IEPs like they are classroom directions, not academic papers. Use plain, simple language. Provide clear, numbered steps. Describe concrete, observable actions. The ultimate test is this: if a substitute teacher who has never met the student walked in tomorrow, could they read the IEP and follow the plan exactly as intended? If the answer is yes, you've got a functional, teacher-friendly plan. Now for the third reason, and this is a big one. Specially designed instruction, the SDI, is often written as a list of accommodations. Things like extra time on tests, small group setting, or preferential seating. Let's be clear, these are supports. They are important because they help the student access the instruction. But they are not instruction themselves. They don't teach the student any new skills. When the SDI section is just a list of access supports, the student's academic gaps don't close. They just get a more comfortable seat while they continue to fall behind. The fix is to write SDI as what it's meant to be: teaching. You have to ask, what specific skill is being taught? How exactly is it being taught? What is the teacher model for the student? What does guided practice look like? What will the student do independently? If the IEP doesn't describe the act of teaching a skill, then it's not specially designed instruction. So if you've ever looked at an IEP and said, this looks good, but it's just not working, the next few mistakes are almost always the culprits. This brings us to reason number 4. There's no instructional frequency. The IEP might say something like, instruction will happen as needed, or supports will be provided when appropriate. This is not a plan, it's a hope. It relies on the teacher remembering, in the heat of the moment, to provide a specific intervention. With all the demands of a classroom, as needed often becomes never. The fix here is absolute clarity. The IEP must specify how often will this instruction occur. Daily? 3 times a week? For how long will each session last? 15 minutes? 30 minutes? Who specifically is responsible for providing it? Is it the special education teacher, the general education teacher, a paraeducator? Progress is built on consistency and repetition, not on good intentions and guesswork. The 5th reason IEPs fail is that the goals are either way too vague or way too hard. We've all seen them. The student will improve reading skills. The student will increase math performance. Or the dreaded, the student will meet grade level expectations. These goals are useless. They don't tell a teacher what to teach, and they don't give the student a reachable target. It's like telling a pilot to fly better without giving them a destination. The fix is to write goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART goals, but with an instructional focus. A well-written goal should describe the specific skill, the condition under which the student will perform it, and the level of independence or accuracy expected. A simple test. Can a teacher explain the goal to someone else in one clear sentence? If not, the goal isn't ready. It needs to be refined until it's a clear, teachable target. Next up, reason number 6. The progress monitoring doesn't match the goal. You have a beautifully written, specific goal for reading fluency, but the only data being collected is the student's grade in English class. Or you have a math calculation goal, but there's no data being collected on their calculation skills, just their homework completion rate. Grades measure many things: effort, participation, completion, but they are a poor measure of specific skill growth. The fix is alignment. The tool you use to measure progress must directly measure the skill you're teaching. If the goal is reading CVC words, you need a tool that measures the student's ability to read CVC words. If the goal is solving two-step equations, you need data on their ability to solve two-step equations. Without this aligned data, you're flying blind. The IEP becomes a series of guesses and assumptions, not a data-driven plan for improvement. The 7th reason is subtle but incredibly important. The IEP accidentally creates dependence instead of independence. This happens when the adults do all the work. An adult prompts the student for every single step instead of teaching them a strategy to do it themselves. Supports like graphic organizers or checklists are always provided but never faded. The student learns to wait for an adult to tell them what to do instead of learning to act on their own. The fix is to build a path to independence directly into the IEP. Prompting hierarchies should be used, with a clear plan to fade from the most intrusive prompts to the least. Supports should be designed to shift responsibility from the teacher to the student over time. The plan should include teaching self-monitoring and self-advocacy skills to replace adult monitoring. Remember, the ultimate goal isn't to support a student forever. The goal is skill transfer, so they can succeed on their own. Finally, the 8th reason IEPs fail: they don't evolve. The same SDI, the same accommodations, the same goals stay in the IEP year after year, even as the student grows and changes. A strategy that worked in 3rd grade might be completely inappropriate for a 6th grader. The students' needs shift, their barriers change, but the instruction stays exactly the same. The fix is to review the plan regularly, not just once a year at the annual review. The IEP team, especially the teacher, should be constantly asking, is this still the right method for the barrier this student is facing right now? Is this still the most effective way to teach this skill? If the answer is no, or even maybe not, then the IEP needs to change. An IEP should be a living document, evolving with the student. When an IEP fails in the classroom, it's a systemic problem, not a teacher problem. It's because the plan was a piece of paper, not a plan of action. But it doesn't have to be this way. When we insist on IEPs that are written clearly, when specially designed instruction describes real, tangible teaching, when goals are specific and teachable, when data actually drives our decisions, and when independence is the ultimate objective, that's when things change. That's when IEPs stop being about compliance and start being about instruction. That's how we fix failing IEPs and finally give every student the support they truly deserve. Thank you so much for watching. If this was helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content on making special education practical and effective. See you next time.